Okay, so we are from UCLA, and then my name is Tom.
I'm Gina.
I'm Johnny.
I'm Yinlock.
And Johnny will start us off with his.
So how our presentation is going to break down is we're going to first talk about, or in the case, there are two main characters. There's N salting and A human. So first, when we talk about salting, and the main facts from the case are that, and from the first line of the case, we see that salting is the president of a national technical society. That means he's a very important person. The next fact is that he's providing a presentation on his own technical discipline. Next, in that presentation, it notes that he makes an off-topic, offensive comment about a newer discipline of engineering. And next, towards the bottom half of the paragraph, from the first paragraph from the case study, salting states that I should have asked if there were any engineers in this newer discipline in the audience before making any remarks concerning their discipline. From that statement, we can conclude that at that point, salting realizes that his comments were offensive to that newer discipline. So here's the main question concerning salting. You guys probably saw it 3 times already, so we'll skip over it. There are references, the IEEE Code of Ethics, and the guidelines for engineering dissecting on ethical grounds. So, first off, in the preamble of the IEEE Code of Ethics, from the first line, it states that recognition of the importance of our technologies. So, from that, according to his off-topic statement, he states that the newer disciplines were the engineers practicing it were paid not to think. This is instead of recognizing the importance, he actually undermines the importance of this new technology, and thus violates this statement from the preamble. A second statement from the preamble is that he has an obligation to his profession to act. He has an obligation to his profession. As the president of the National Technical Society, it is his job to be a representative for that technical society. And thus, when he makes his own personal remarks about the newer discipline, he no longer represents his own national society, and thus he violates the second statement from the preamble.
And there are a number of rules from the Code of Ethics which salting actually violated when he made the comments. First rule is avoid conflicts of interest. So basically, during his speech, salting was only addressing, or his address was only about his own discipline. So basically, what this means is he didn't actually have to venture into talking about the other discipline and actually saying that they were getting paid not to think. Because of what he did, he actually caused a conflict of interest in this case, which is salting's own opinion, which is, his discipline is paid to think, versus those in the audience who belong to the new discipline who thinks that what salting said is wrong. And then the second rule that he violated is to be honest. So basically, to be honest and realistic in stating claims or estimates based on available data. So what salting said, we can see that there's no actual evidence backing what he talked about. So basically when he said that the new discipline was paid not to think, well, where's the actual technical data or anything that involves maybe the curriculum of the new engineering discipline that can support the fact that they were paid not to think? That's not correct. And then he also violated rule number 9, which is to avoid injuring others, their property, reputation, or employment by false and malicious action. So we can see that salting had somewhat of a malicious intent when he said that the new discipline was paid not to think, because right after he said that, upon realizing the audience was a little bit offended by his comment, he just said that, oh, I should have just not said that because there were people in the audience, instead of actually apologizing So by saying that he shouldn't have said it, he realizes it is actually kind of a malicious comment, and that basically injures the reputation of the people who belong to the new discipline, because that's they put in a lot of effort to actually get whatever degree or the jobs that they have right now. And then he also violated rule number 10, which is to assist colleagues and coworkers in their professional development. And by saying that people are getting paid to not think, that basically undermines their role in the engineering society, and that is not an assistance per se. And he also violated a number of rules in the guideline for dissension. Well, actually, the guideline for dissension is on ethical grounds, but we could actually apply this to more of a general case for dissenting. So number 2 is keep it professional, and when Salting said that, made his statement, that's basically a very unprofessional way of stirring up a problem. And basically, he made those comments without any technical or objective grounds. Because, yeah. And there's also number 3, which is catch problems early at the lowest level. When Salting realized that people in the audience were getting offended, not only did he not apologize, he only just brushed it off as saying, maybe I shouldn't have said it. Well, if he actually apologized, then it wouldn't have actually caused the result, which is Kuhlman's email to him, as well as CCing everybody else. And also, there's number 4, which is before going out on a limb, make sure that the issue is sufficiently important. He should have really thought about what he said. Because of what he said, he stirred up the resulting problem, which could have led to maybe his impeachment from the society, just due to what he said.
So our conclusion is that Salting acted unethically, and as a president of a national technical organization, then Salting had a professional obligation to represent the views of not only his own, but also of his disciplines and the umbrella organization overall. And then, feeling that, he should have apologized immediately during his talk, saying, I realized that my remarks just now were offensive, and I apologize for that. Please forgive me. But then since he didn't, and the situation has escalated to the point where even major leaders are involved, then Salting should first reply to that email, apologize. It's important to make sure that he doesn't defend himself. And he just has to state clearly that he was wrong. He knows that. And then also, in addition to replying to that email, he should apologize to the technical community overall, whether it be by blog or an email to the members. And depending on the severity of that, then the whole point is not to let it get to the media. So now we're going to talk about A. Kuhlman, and at first he just raises his hand and tries to take the edge off of Salting's offensive comments, but then after the talk, then he takes action by sending a letter to Salting and CCing all the other major leaders involved. Actually, not even, just a lot of major leaders, and then he criticizes Salting and requests an apology.
So, we have the question about Kuhlman. Was it ethical for him to send this letter? Was it okay to CC everyone? And I'd like to say not. And I present my case. First, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that it was highly unnecessary to CC all these leaders. There's no reason to call your boss and say, oh, your employee screwed up. It's good that he should contact Salting first. And that, by the fact that it is unnecessary, I state that it is malicious. Because had it been necessary, it wouldn't be malicious. But since it's unnecessary, the fact that he takes this into a very personal level, and that will in fact injure the reputation and employment perhaps of Salting, makes it a clear violation of rule number 9. So now that brings me to the next point, that his actions are not very professional. In fact, they're highly personal. He's seeking for Salting to apologize in front of these unrelated world leaders for the sake that he has made a bad comment about Cuman's career and discipline. And this is in clear violation of paragraph number 2 in the guidelines for dissension for engineers dissenting on ethical ground. And the fact is, this not only violates number 2, it also violates number 3. That when this problem could be resolved at a personal level, so by a direct letter from Cuman to Salting, saying that maybe you should apologize. I feel like you said you done wrongly to me and my discipline. He in fact escalated the matter into a higher ground, into clearly not keeping problems at the lowest level, which brings me to the question: was this really significant enough that it needs to be involved these leaders? Was this a decision that Cuman should be making, or is it rather a decision that Salting should be making in his apology to the public? And that brings me to a conclusion that Cuman has acted wrongly, and it was highly unnecessary and malicious for him to involve all these leaders in his accusation and in criticizing Salting. And what he should have done is sent a private letter informing that Salting has in fact acted wrongly and should be apologizing to pertinent members of society. But with everything said and done, I feel like it is necessary for Cuman to apologize to Salting with all the original recipients.